a lot easier and faster, and would allow them to farm for those bombs a little bit more safe. But we are off, and we find Bombos here in Link's house. Jem telling us what's going on there with the Bombo spam.
And what are we getting from Uncle? Let's see here. It's going to be the bombs. Okay.
All right. The good news with getting bombs from Uncle is that you won't have to farm for bombs. The bad news is that you have to fight with bombs. So we'll see how our runners handle this. There are pretty nice strats for each of the guards. We'll see if our runners know them and pull them off.
Of course, standard mode, so we're going to get the usual Zelda rescue and escape. We'll kind of see if the seed opens up a little bit here. See what our runners decide to do for strategy as far as routing.
Yeah, it looks like Jem got the nice strat off there. dazedcloud unfortunately missed with that first bomb. Just a little bit behind now, but following just fine. The green guard, you generally have to react to his RNG, and both of our runners having a little bit of trouble with him here, but getting through.
And there's our extra key.
And both of our runners getting through the second key guard here. So Jem has 4 bombs left. dazedcloud has 3 bombs left. Getting a little bit dicey. We do have to still kill the key rat and have a bomb left over for that back room, but both of our runners still have plenty of bombs for that to happen.
And a small shield. No sword yet, but shield found. So fairly routine start here. Of course, we've got Zelda. One Zelda rescuing the other Zelda as the timelines diverge a little bit and wormholes open up, and Zeldas from other games fall into Link to the Past. Thanks to our wonderful sprite team.
Yeah, and it's often the case when you get bombs as your first weapon. We're kind of haven't gotten any immediate progression yet. We have that Bombos medallion, but we can't use that until we have a sword. And well, it only is progression after you have the mitts anyway. So still looking for an item to point us in any sort of direction here. Now, as we mentioned before, The final boss of Bomb Escape is coming up. Jem's almost there. It is the Key Rat. You really have to make sure you read the RNG and get the bomb to explode. And we find the gloves here in the Dark Sewers chest. So there is a little bit of direction.
Yeah, it's always nice to get a good item there. Still looking for that map, so that's going to be in one of the chests back here.
And Jem had no problem with the Key Rat there. A strat that generally seems to work most of the time is to just drop the bomb right away and kamikaze yourself to the left side and throw the bomb if you have to.
Ooh, Dave's getting it. He gets a key rat. Oh, he's got an extra bomb now too, so he's fine. I thought I saw it drop down to 0. But yeah, he's got just enough to get this done.
Yeah, and with the gloves, and while nothing being back here anyway, it wouldn't be a huge deal if you didn't get it in the first trip, but definitely nice to not have to backtrack there. And we'd see that bloomerang here in the Sanctuary chest. So outside that glove, not too much going on so far. And Jem had that quick map check. It looks like we have both 5-6 crystals here in the light world, as well as I think that was the green pendant at East.
I think so.
And we also have a pretty nice tier 2 tree pull of the red rupees to top off our rupee count. And it looks like both runners are going directly into Kakariko from the north. dazedcloud actually showing off that you can kill the birds there with 4 boomerang hits and doing a tree pull, while Jem finds the hammer here in blind. And we have the Moon Pearl here in the Kakariko well, so that gives us immediate Dark World access, as well as the flippers. So these are always the seeds that are a little bit tough to route out at the beginning. You have just pretty much the entire world open that outside of the mid-slot portions, so quite a bit available. Now, Death Mountain is still inaccessible, but otherwise there's quite a bit to do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a situation. And we've got Green Pendant is vanilla location, by the way. And we've got a crystal at Desert Palace. I missed Tower of Hera, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's both of the 5/6 crystals here in the light world. So we'll have to see. We have two pendants in the dark world, and what they end up being can always be a little bit interesting. And it looks like with everything open, Jem is opting first to do the flipper checks here in the light world. He does have enough money for Zora. If that's where he intends to go after Hobo, that would be a nice way to clean all of that out at once. And it looks like dazedcloud is opting to do probably the dam and the rest of the South Shore first. And we do see the hookshot there in the dam for dazedcloud. So that's a great find. Opens up even more of the world. Only by sequence break, though, at this point.
We'll make the mini mold arm cave easier. Is Jem finding the lantern in the ice rod cave?
Yeah, and now that hookshot makes all of Light Death Mountain in logic once our runners piece that together.
I think that's probably where we'll see them go. Depending on what we get here in mini mold arm cave as well.
Yeah, we could see them opt to do a quick hype cave and, either the Stumpy dig game or pyramid catfish before going up there, just in case they can find the mitts that would make that Death Mountain play even better. Or even something like the Cane of Samaria and a sword, just something that could possibly make it more efficient while they're up there. But we see the mirror.
Ooh, yeah, I was about to say, we just saw the mirror in mini mold arm cave. It's a pretty good find.
Yeah, things are opening up very quickly here. Hopefully, Jem does do the South Shore before going into the Dark World. But right now, he's approaching that Zora check.
And it's a sword. That's a pretty good find.
Yeah, getting that first sword before you've had to dive into any dungeons definitely makes it easier. I'm sure both of our runners are very comfortable with swordless combat, but having a sword definitely makes everything a bit easier.
And I think we are going to see Jem go ahead and get those South Shore locations. He's actually going to mini mold arm first. Interesting. Not going to be the best way to go about doing it, since we know where the hook shot is, but he's got the sword, so he's alright.
I think what he's trying to do here is save a couple screen transitions. What I expect is after this, he'll do the dam and then go right up into the Dark World portal to do Hype Cave.
Definitely possible.
And dazedcloud is about to get his lamp, and we'll have to see what he does from there. So this is pretty cool. Jem got the hook shot there, and I think he immediately realized he had the full kit for Swamp Palace. So instead of draining the dam, he's going to go up and go into the portal and then drain the dam.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually. It saves a couple of transitions, and you can go ahead and do Swamp Palace. Oh, and we got some checks there. The appended dungeons are going to be Pod and Thieves Town. Everything else is Crystal. That's pretty smart to be able to keep track of items like that and know that I already got what I need to go in Swamp Palace. I can just save a little bit of time.
Yeah, and dazedcloud is about to get his sword as well, so he's not really that far behind here. Jem is pretty much just up a hype cave check, so we'll have to see what he ends up doing.
I don't think Hype Cave check, yes, but I don't think Hype Cave really turned out too much. So
No, and it looks like dazedcloud is doing what we thought our runners might be doing after that South Shore, which is going up to Death Mountain. So there are a lot of items up here, plus the crystal at Tower of Hera. So definitely a smart play. It'll be interesting to see which one of these plays that our runners are making gives the most progression at this time.
sure will. So we're gonna get to see Swamp Palace play. Of course, there's a clue over here on the right. And it's just going to be some cache in Mimic Cave, so that will help with their routing, knowing they don't have to go to Mimic Cave. Unless they're desperate for money.
Yeah, those are personally my favorite kind of hints. The hints just tell you you don't have to go to this out of the way crappy location. Just you can skip it.
Old man giving a whole lot of love with a full heart container. Just a big 20 up on top of Spectacle Rock. Let's see what's inside.
We do see it pointed out in chat here. Bow could be just about anywhere in this seed because Pod and EP are pendants. So it could even be there in Ganon's Tower.
Do we got another hint about where Cash is? It's on a boss, and Daze has found the Can of Burna.
Yeah, that actually puts Spike Cave into logic immediately. So we'll have to see if he gets that as part of his Death Mountain clear here.
Might be like right at the end. I could see that being a definite possibility.
It does look like Jem's going to the back first here in Swamp Palace. We'll see if that's all he does or if he comes back in for the left side. dazedcloud finds the mitts in Paradox Cave. So really nice find up there. Makes Death Mountain even more profitable. Can really just check a whole lot of things. I think he still has somewhere around 10 items to find here on Death Mountain while he's up here.
Would make sense.
And Jem hasn't gotten all that much here in Swamp Palace. He will get a crystal, but not much as far as progression goes so far. Opting to go with the sword spin strats. Getting some nice double spins in there. And we see that Turtle Rock is actually the Ether Medallion, which is the one that our runners don't have so far. And Arcus just has the map. Jem gets the first crystal here, but we'll have to see. There's at least one item. I didn't catch what other items, if he got the compass as well. And he is going back in.
Yeah, we did see the compass, so left side has got some kind of item.
And dazedcloud heading into Hera. Will be 2 items in here, plus there are 2 hints. So always a nice check early on to have. And we find out that Pyramid Fairy is going to be not checked by our runners to see, just some junk items with those early 5-6 crystals. Well, Light World 5-6 crystals, you might think that would be a little bit more valuable, but not today. And it does look like we have a vanilla big key here in Tower of Hera, so both of our runners will be sitting through the cutscene. Well, Jem got 10 rupees out of the left side of Swamp, so I'm sure he's not too happy there.
It's never a trek you want to have to make if you don't have to. Meanwhile, Dazed is going to be going up and around here in Tower of Hera.
Yeah, Gem did get the mushroom out of there, so there still might be value in Swamp Palace, but it's looking pretty grim right now. Dazed, however, is getting an excellent hint that the bow is in Thieves Town, so Pendant Thieves Town can be quite the tough location to deal with when you're routing a seed, but our runners know, especially if that bow isn't in the first four, that is an excellent hint.
That is a great hint, and the good news is Gem's got an arrow now to go with that, just a single arrow, but an arrow nonetheless.
Yeah, if you couple the fact that the bow is in Thieves Town with the fact that both the Eastern and Pod are pendants, depending on where that is in Thieves Town, it could be especially trolly in this seed if that hint didn't exist, because it's very possible that the runners could end up in GT without the bow looking for it. It's also possible that our runners know the new Mimic Skip in GT without the bow, but not everybody knows that yet.
I'm completely unfamiliar with it, so I can certainly say that it's possible that people could know it, and there's some people who probably are really good at it already. Meanwhile, Moldorm is down on Day's side, which means that our repair is complete.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going back for Spiral Cave, so at least for now, he will not be checking Spike Cave. Meanwhile, Jem looks to be going to the Village of Outcasts next. This is kind of interesting given that hint we have. Whether or not he finds that bow in Thieves Town could be rather important. He might have to double dip Thieves Town if he doesn't find it in the front. Because I suspect, given the full Death Mountain availability, that he is not looking to do a full clear of Pendant Thieves Town right now.
I would assume probably the same thing, and I would assume that we'll see in a moment here as he's getting the first. He's going to get the chest outside of Thieves Town, and then he'll probably do the first four, and then we'll see where he goes from there.
Yeah, it looks like dazedcloud is doing the south route here in Dark World. He might as well go right to Swamp Palace, and that would even out our runners pretty closely with that clear.
Oh, he actually is going to do the first four, so we'll see. Let's watch Jem here for a moment and see what he gets. There's the bow right off the bat.
All right, that works out for Jem. He doesn't have to double dip here because of the hint.
And the compass. So yeah, if you're dazed and you find that bow that early, you probably think my opponent has figured it out as well, just blindly. Either they have the hint and they know, or they probably just found it and it's not really an advantage for me.
Yeah, kind of anticlimactic. Could have been a very valuable hint, but instead that would. It's hard to imagine any runner skipping that chest, even with Pendant Thieves Town.
Yep, there's a big key, and Jem's just going to mirror out and collect his bow. Now, the one thing that could hurt him if he does that is, of course, if there's another important item in the back half of Thieves Town.
Yeah, there are still 2 items left, so dazedcloud will have to make his choice when he gets to Village of Outcasts, but he could opt to do the same thing, or he could opt to do the full clear.
And Master Sword showing up in the brewery, so looking pretty good.
And Jem making his way up here, maybe doing a Skullwoods check, and dazedcloud going to Swamp Palace. So does look like Jem is opting to check the front of Skullwoods here. Doesn't have the Fire Rod yet, but that doesn't mean the Fire Rod couldn't just be sitting here vanilla. So definitely good to get this check out of the way.
So nice bomb jump there from Jem, finding a little bit of love in that big chest in the Skullwoods.
Having a little bit of trouble with the Gibdos there. Down to 1 heart. Should be fine, though.
Yeah, we might even see it. I don't know. We might even see a death warp here. Oh, no, not that kind of warp.
Well, we saw a death warp, but just not when it was intended, I guess. Okay. dazedcloud also opting to go straight to the back here in Swamp Palace, so we know that the left side is 2 pieces of junk, 5 blue rupees. We'll see if he goes for it. It's still pretty early in the seed to leave 2 items behind, so I suspect he will, but if he doesn't, that would be a nice way to pick up some time.
Yeah, there's just too much outstanding at this point for Daze, I think, to skip those 2 left side chests knowing there's 2 items there. Just too many important things. We're missing a Fire Rod, an Ice Rod. We could need Ether if it's required for one or more of the dungeon accesses. Oh yeah, it is, because Turtle Rock. Flute, we're gonna need that. Might need boots. Need Candace Samaria. So yeah, lots of stuff here. I don't think at this point we can really expect to see our runners skipping locations that they're gonna have to come back to a lot later.
Yeah, and I like the way Jem routed this here. Did the bumper cave check right into the climbing Death Mountain. So pretty efficient. The only downside is it does kind of isolate that graveyard ledge for a little bit. He might opt to route that in later with like pyramid, graveyard ledge, mushroom, catfish if it comes to that. But right now this seems pretty good. And dazedcloud actually opting for the menu boss strats, which is menuing between hammer and hook shot. You'll see runners do it either way. If you do it optimally, usually the sword spins are faster, but it's really hard to do it optimally, and you can very, very easily end up taking more time than if you just used hammer. So hammer strats are just fine here.
Yeah, when in doubt, go with the maybe quote unquote slower but more stable option, just because it's a lot easier to handle.
And dazedcloud gets his second crystal. So first runner to 2 crystals. Basically, our runners are just tracing each other's footsteps right now. We'll probably be a little bit of time before we see our next diversion. I would say the one redeeming quality of this left side swamp with 2 items is that it didn't give you the big key to go back to the big chest to get the second blue rupee.
So we're kind of in this situation now where we're seeing each runner do. We've seen this before. We see this frequently where everybody does the same thing that the other guy just did. So, and Jem now having to go up through Tower of Hera to the Moldorm fight while Daze is checking all of the stuff here on the left side.
Yeah, early divergence is fun. However, usually it just ends up in this situation where you'll see the runners just trace each other's footsteps. Sometimes you can get even wilder divergence, but that seems to be the rare case. And Moldorm giving Jem the business there, knocking him right off the platform. But Jem comes back, gets revenge, and gets his second crystal, evening up the crystal count. And it does look like Jem's giving us a check that Daze did not, which is Spike Cave. So if this is important, it could be very interesting and very good for Jem.
And if it's not, then well, we'll all figure it out together. It's not. So Korek sitting here, what, 40 minutes in about, looking pretty good as far as items go. Where do you think that we're looking at going next if you were running this race? Where would you be looking at as the next option?
I think both of our runners, after they finish their current routes, will be looking at Ice Palace. Now, Daze does have these nice checks here with the Smith chain, so if they point them in a different direction, that would be very good. But otherwise, Ice Palace is a crystal dungeon. It has 3 items, 3 hints, and with that Bombos medallion, they can clear it. Oh wow, that's a great find for dazedcloud. You got the ice rod there from the Smiths. Who knows when Jem will be back to do the Smith chain?
Yeah, that's kind of out of the way for Jem at the moment. It's already gone and done most of the stuff in Village Outcast, so probably not the highest priority, especially if you're going to Ice Palace after this. You know, kind of an interesting situation here. He's getting that information on medallion you need to get into Turtle Rock. And you're gonna get some of these checks in as well.
Yeah, it really depends on where the cane and the ether medallion end up being. I could definitely see a situation where, say, if the flute hasn't been found yet, if the flute's in Turtle Rock, say, I could definitely see Jem going into Turtle Rock without the ice rod at some point in this seed, depending on where the other items show up.
Absolutely. This is a stupidly healthy seed, by the way, Korek. Jem's got 14 hearts and Daze is 13, so health not a big problem for our runners this time around.
Yeah, not at all. That they also have that blue mail on top of it, so pretty nice health situation.
Ooh. Super Bunny Cave with the silvers and the fire shield, which both runners have. This wasn't marked on Dave's side. Okay. No
Yeah, I think
problem.
we missed it the first time, but he
Yeah.
definitely has those silver arrows there, so very good find there.
And Daze should have that bow as well, so that's going to be super helpful. Taking out Ganon, don't have to worry about sword spins now. And it looks like Daze also going to back out of Thief Town, and we will not see that today.
Yeah, because he routed this a little bit differently than Gem, we'll have to see where he goes. He might just opt to skip the front of Skullwoods completely and instead grab that purple chest. Or he could go to Graveyard Ledge too. There are a few options here. On Gem's side, however, he is going to turn in that mushroom. The only thing from Swamp Palace that could possibly be required. No fake powder today. We have the Cane of Samaria on the Witch. So that is at both times great for Gem, but also kind of bad because it increases the chance that he'll be making that Turtle Rock dip without the Ice Rod. And Dave's smartly making use of the weakness of Gyptos, the silver arrows, just shooting that one that was in his way. But Jem got the great hint that he's in the right spot, that there is a unique item in here somewhere. And Jem showing off the fun bomb strats for that room. Pretty much developed by Taj so.
So let's see here. He's going up to check Graveyard Ledge. Fire rod's in the Sage's closet, so we know where that is now. It's in Sahasrala's hut.
Not only is it there, it's been there the whole time. They could have gotten that right after escape if they wanted to.
Yep. It's a nice hint for nice hint to find an ice palace, huh? Hey, the fire rod, the thing that you might need to get through here is not here. Should have gotten it 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, but I mean, at least they know where it is now. So that means that unique item in Ice Palace is not the fire rod for once. We'll have to see what it ends up being. So a little bit interesting. And dazedcloud is also just routing in the Witch here after the Graveyard Ledge, so this is a pretty nice route for him. Going to get his Kana Samaria. He might even route in Catfish here, too. Oh, wow. dazedcloud finding the flute on Catfish. That is an excellent find.
Nicely done. That's out of the way for the most part too. So we're gonna need that to get into Misery Mire. That's a huge advantage for Daze. There's the boots showing up just on the other side. That's gonna help Jem go a little bit faster here.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's our unique item. Yeah.
Yeah, almost certainly that was it. But Dazed is really, if he makes the play for Ice Palace, which seems like a very reasonable play given what he has, he'll be very close to go mode at that point. So this is really working out for Dazed. I think if he makes the Ice Palace play, reads all the hints, he'll be down to Ether go mode.
The question is, what is Dazed up to right now? Where is Dazed going?
I think he's activating the flute, but also going through the Dark World so that he can turn in that purple chest that's sitting over there.
Imagine if that's got ether inside of it. Wow.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah, flute to purple makes a lot of sense. That's a good play.
All right, so I'm sure Jem is quite happy to have those boots, but really just needs to get to Catfish. Getting the flute would make it much more likely he would check the Smith turn in, but even that's not a guarantee at that point.
He's gonna get the crystal, of course, from defeating Old Stare here. Just gotta be a little bit careful. Ooh, he's on 1 heart now. Gotta be really careful. Gotta watch those bops from the ceiling. He's got it though. Nicely done. Daze, meanwhile, gonna be going ahead and checking Mr. Meyer, it looks like. Let's see if it's Bombos to get inside, so can't go there.
Yeah, so the one thing that is going to work out for Jem here, a lot of runners like to delay Ice Palace if they have what they would view as better options, and dazedcloud probably views Meyer and Desert combo as a better option. So he'll be doing all of this without the boots, unless of course he needs the boots to finish Desert, which will allow Jem to catch up a little bit. Jem going to get that Fire Rod right now.
Absolutely. Still looking for that ether, and we're in ether go mode at this point for both runners. Though Jem's got to find a few more things to be able to find out where that is. Magic Cape.
Yeah, Desert is not boots locked, so Daze will be able to finish off Desert and Meyer while he's here. Jem, I think Jem kind of needs Ether Medallion to show up in one of these checks he's doing here. It looks like he's intending to do both the Pod and Eastern Clear. It does seem like a good option for him. He's looking for the Flute to open up Crystal Dungeons, or Ether Medallion to open up Crystal Dungeons, and otherwise he just has kind of out of the way locations.
Yep, indeed, that Fire Rod showing up in that middle chest there. And Daze is going to be going to the back. So not a bad play here from Daze. Go ahead and complete the dungeon. Probably get everything cleared out, and then just go do Misery Mire. So get 2 for 1 deal. Not a bow locked Palace of Darkness. Wouldn't matter either way, but just for the sake of logic, knowing that found the key in that first chest means that we do not need the bow to go through here. Or at least to get through and open up the rest of the dungeon. Obviously we need it for the statue to get the Helm Sword King. And wow, really nicely done by Daze. 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. With the compass.
Yeah, getting his 3rd crystal. Meanwhile, Jem getting all the small keys here in the front of Pod. Definitely not bow locked. So that's a very interesting thing, that bow might not actually be pointing here.
And one thing that Dazed does know is that that big chest has got the 2nd item in Desert Palace, so we're going to have to go back in to open that up. But not going to be too bad of a walk back here.
So Jem just got a hint that arrows are in Graveyard Ledge. Normally, that's a good hint to get, but one of the routes that Jem could consider would have been Pyramid into Graveyard Ledge into Catfish, and now suddenly that route is a little bit weaker.
Right, Catfish is kind of, unfortunately for Jem, having checked all the stuff up in that corner already, Catfish is orphaned all by itself, like with no super easy way to get up there. So, really becomes a question of when do we see that go into play? When does Jem do that?
That is a good item for Jem to find. The magic powder could have him go to the Smith chain.
He's got the shovel as well. Meanwhile, dazedcloud going into Misery Mire. Only 2 items in here. Here's the big key.
Yeah, only 2 items, but it is a crystal, and just making progress through the crystal dungeons is definitely a smart thing for him to be doing right now.
Great. It will give him a definite advantage as long as Jem doesn't find that ether hanging out one of these pendant dungeons. Uh-oh. There's an item on Helmus working.
Yeah, that's always hard to deal with when it's a pendant dungeon. And you can see Jem's indecision there. Took him a second to just decide to go for it. So this is a long fight for what might be nothing.
It could be nothing. It could be the ether. It could be everything. But yeah, you're hoping at this point that last drop's going to be what you're looking for. So for Dazed, his options are going to be Skull Woods, which he's got cleared out. Just needs to go back and kill Mothula. Turtle Rock is not an option until he finds Ether. I think it really will point him toward maybe doing Ice Palace.
Yeah, I think he'll do Ice Palace, get the boots, get that hint for the Fire Rod, and at that point, he'll probably go get the crystal from Skull Woods, which would give him at 6 crystals, and at that point, he'll be doing his Ether search if he hasn't found it in the process.
Right, so we're going to see here what's on Helmasaur King. And we'll get a chance to see perhaps what's in the rest of Misery Mire here. We're at 59 minutes in and we're already talking go mode with multiple dungeons complete, so this has been a very quick seed.
Yeah, so far it's been pretty nice. Not a lot of actually, I don't think any required double dips for our runners. So even if they end up having to search the whole world for Ether.
Well, sword upgrade on Helmasaur King. You can see Jem there hesitating for a moment, thinking, do I want to just mirror out of here with that?
Yeah, it's still possible that Ether shows up on the pedestal, so it's a good idea to grab that pendant. But man, you don't want it to be a ped seed. Well, Jem probably doesn't know it, but he really, really wants this to be a pedestal seed at this point to lengthen it, unless something gets him to that flute and ice rod a little bit earlier.
This could be the interesting play too. What's the green pendant turn in? Does green pendant turn in Ether? Because Jem's going through right now and doing... I assume he's going to go ahead and just clear this out. Unless there's a strong reason not to. Since you're here, you might as well get the green pendant item.
Yeah, given that we know there are multiple items that he needs that he won't find here, plus he just killed Helmasaur King, so he's committed to clearing out this area. I expect to see all 3 items here in Eastern plus the green pendant turn in. Well, that's a nice hint to get now. I think that's all 3 items already, so Jem just heading to grab that green pendant now. And meanwhile, dazedcloud, not finding much of anything in Mire, but will be picking up a crystal here, coming up on Vidi.
It's half magic.
No one's ever going to complain about getting half magic, but it's still not what he's looking for.
He's getting a map out of it, unfortunately. So definite for Dazed right now, definitely looking pretty good with 4 crystals. And maybe the game kind of trying to nudge him toward going toward Ice Palace. And just a heart there in Checkerboard Cave. Green pendant turn in just a big 20.
So Jem did get some fetch quests out of that sequence. Looks like he might be going for the boots checks now. And really, outside of the fetch quests and the boots checks, we don't have a whole lot of places for Ether to show up. I guess we have the back of Thieves Town. And of course, what chat would like, I'm sure, is that pedestal is definitely in play. Well, there's Ether. Wow. Okay, Jem almost safe and quit, but I think he's following through with his plan here. But his plan is only to do Skullwoods, it looks like. I guess we'll see. He could still opt to do the Smith Chain, but probably unlikely. And meanwhile, dazedcloud is in Ice Palace, so he's about to get his boots and his fire rod hint.
Yep, you can get his hint, his boots, all the good stuff that he needs to make progress here.
I think the biggest time difference for Jem here will be whether he finds Flute or Ice Rod first. If he finds Ice Rod first, then he gets Go Mode, Desert, and Mire, which would allow him to catch up a little bit. Otherwise, he might, if he finds Flute first, he might search for Ice Rod in Desert and Mire, which would add even more time. So Ice Rod first is pretty important for Jem to have a chance to stay in this.
First, we got unique items in Blind's hideout. I think we know what that is.
Yeah, we do see Jem making the play on Turtle Rock, which does mean he is going to double dip this. I guess there is a small potential for there to be a hint in the front that says the Ice Rod is on the Smiths, but that would be really, really unlikely at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna be really tough too. Is Ice Rod and Flute away from being able to complete this. Some bombs on chest requiring a specialist unlock, so he knows what's in the purple chest, but
that's even worse. Yeah, it kind of pushes him away from the Smith. Oh man. So close, and yet so far. I mean, he does still have the powder that would put him in that direction, but it's basically, same value as if he didn't have the powder now. dazedcloud, meanwhile, just finishing up his Ice Palace clear here. He's got his items. I think he just needs to go to Cold Stare at this point. And Jem finds a book to give more fetch quests.
Heard you like fetch quests, Jem. You like them a lot, so we're gonna give you all the fetch quests in the game.
Yeah, what's really unfortunate about that book is there's a very good chance what Jem will plan to do is to try to save his portal on Laser Bridge, which would entail going all the way around in the Light World to the Ether Tablet. Normally a fine play. This time it's just going to waste even more time.
So it's kind of cool that we got a nice little chain here at the end between Ice Palace and the Sahasrara chest, which gets you the Fire Rod, and then you go do the Skull Woods and you get the Ether, which lets you in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and the key thing is if you get the flute and the ice rod before that sequence, you're really golden in this seed, and that's what dazedcloud did. Jem, on the other hand, got has not yet gotten the flute or the ice rod, so ahead in the chain, past where he wants to be. And dazedcloud picking up his 5th crystal. He has his hint for the fire rod, so I expect that he'll be planning to do the Sahashala's hut into Skull Woods, which would just leave that ether medallion.
It would be a fairly good play to make right now. Yeah, it's going to 5 to get the stuffs.
Ooh, but he's going through the dark world, so this is really interesting.
Is he making the same play, the same gamble here that maybe Ether's in Eastern Palace or Palace of Darkness?
Yeah, I mean,
that's interesting.
Yeah, there are 5 items in Pod, 4 items in Eastern, counting Sahashala. He has the 3 bong checks. I don't think he checked Lumberjack yet, plus 1 item in Skull Woods. This makes a lot of sense if he goes in there. There isn't that much left outside of here, but man, that would really serve to even it up a little bit if he makes that play.
Well, kind of, because we still have the fact that Jem's not going to find his ice rod in here, so he's going to get all the way through Turtle Rock, get to the end of the laser bridge, and be like, well, I'm not beating Trinex right now.
Yeah, it really just depends on how Jem decides to sequence things from here. This is the opportunity that Jem needs, but will it be enough?
Oh. Fluting away. Oh, he's going to 3.
So this looks good, but I think all he's doing right here is Skull Woods. We'll see if he does any additional checks.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see here if Diz does anything else beyond getting his 6th crystal. You might think he went do the bonk check since that he's here. Having opened up, obviously, Pod now and left this portal behind. That's the thing too. He left this portal behind. Maybe he's thinking that he'll go back over there.
Yeah, he could. One way he could do this is take an overworld death outside of Skull Woods and go back to the portal. I'm not really sure how much faster that would be. It's something he could do, though. Jem is taking an overworld death. He does not have the flute, so he wants to save the portal for now. By doing this, that portal will stay on the Turtle Rock Laser Bridge entrance, but it really just depends. The big thing is whether he finds the Ice Rod first or the flute first, I think. And coming to this portal makes me worry that he might be finding the flute first.
The one problematic thing is if he does the Smith chain, he's going to have to lose that portal because he's going to need the mirror to get the Smith back to the light world anyways.
Well, he could, he could take a death warp because he hasn't killed Aga, so he could death warp, but
right.
Ooh, that would be yeah. He is checking the shuffle here. So it looks like he might be going to Desert Palace. which is his smart. I mean, it's a crystal that he can clear, but from his perspective, it could be the flute there or the ice rod there. However, we know it's not going to be either of those things, and it's just going to put off getting that ice rod or flute.
Meanwhile, Daze does get that 6th crystal in the big 20. So now we see Bonk Rocks versus Catfish and Smith. Who's gonna get there first? Oh, well, I guess Daze not gonna go to. Maybe he may be giving checks now. As he's leaving Lost Woods. Conceivably, you would think that given the yeah, I think he's gonna check Bonk Rocks. I think we might be in go mode here in just a moment.
Yeah, it looks like Lumberjack first.
Can't say it's a bad play.
We do see a bottle there on Lumberjack.
And at 1 hour, 17 minutes, 13 seconds, Daze Clouds in go mode with Turtle Rock to go.
Yep, and there he is. He's fluting right away. The only advantage Jem has is that sword that Daze Cloud won't get off the Helmet Sword, but I'm sure Daze Cloud was just fine with Master Sword, and he could still find a Tempered Sword in Ganon's Tower, or even on Trinex.
Yep, still looking for that 4th sword upgrade. Haven't seen it yet. We've cleared out a lot of the game, but poor Jem, just Rando gonna Rando, and Rando's gonna put things in hard to get to places that you can't really route in a second time easily.
Yeah, having the mitts after doing Village of Outcast, it was just a huge difference in the seed. Basically, doing Death Mountain first at this point is the major difference on how the routes unfolded.
Yep, Ice Rod is on. For those wondering where Jem needs to go, he needs to go to the Smiths to get the Ice Rod and the flutes on Catfish. The only bad news for Jem is he's got some hints that kind of tell him that the purple chest is junk, and he's already gone ahead and cleared out Zora, the mushroom, and basically everything else up in that northeast corner except for Catfish. Did that really early on, so not really a priority to go back there at this point.
Yeah, after this, I assume he'll do Pyramid and Pyramid Fairy. Wait, he got a Pyramid Fairy hint, so man, it's tough to say what he'll do. He didn't get what he thought he would get here. So he has Pyramid Catfish as an option, or he could do Powder and the Smith Chain.
Yeah, I think he's going to go do Misery Mire, obviously, since he's here.
He doesn't have the flute, so
oh yeah, he doesn't have the flute. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, he'll do a Gina. So he still has that portal on Death Mountain, but that would mean he would have to exit out of the Gina and either run to his next check or just give up the portal on Laser Bridge at this point. And it looks like that's what he's opting to do. So I think what Jem's thinking here is I'll do pyramid and catfish first, and then I'll finish up with the smith chain. He's doing Bomba's top as well. Um, I think he doesn't want to go into the back of Thieves Town unless it's required.
Can't blame him for that. I think that's a smart strategy.
But if he does do that route, he'll end up with a flute before the ice rod, which is going to even add more time with a full clear of mire.
You have to feel like if you're watching this and you're thinking, I wonder what Jem is feeling right now. Maybe a little frustrated that he's done all of these things and still he's not missing just one item. It's not just one item he's missing here that's annoying. It's two. It's two items for go mode that he's missing.
Okay, so this is at least good. Jem is heading towards the smith. He does have some fetch quests here outside of the purple chest that is useless. He does have the powder. He does have the bottle. So he will get the ice rod. Right after he lost his portal in Turtle Rock, he will get that ice rod.
Yep. There's the smith chain turn in. So
now, I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if Trinex has an item, but the ice rod is definitely required for Jem, but would only open up one item at most. So it might not change what he's thinking as far as routing in everything else here.
Yeah, I feel like if you're Jem right now, you're just kind of in cleanup mode, where you're just looking for all of these one-off locations you haven't been to, because you're starting to run out of places where it can be. He's gonna get that ice rod. Yeah, happy swipes. Happy swipes. Found the ice rod. Yay! We're all so happy.
There's still a very reasonable chance that Jem is going to finish Thieves Town and pull the pedestal before he makes it to Catfish. So pedestal is not dead for our sake, because Jem is kind of lost and Catfish is isolated.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Daze is already on the basement roller coaster at TR, so about to.
Yeah, Daze is just
the laser bridge.
Clearing up here.
Yeah, we'll have to go on the laser bridge to get that last key, of course. But other than that, it's going to be pretty quick. Boom, boom, boom. And we'll be on the GT in just a moment here. Item placements on laser bridge are just trolling. Poor Daze, it's all the way at the end is the key that he needs.
And Jem is back in Thieves Town. From his perspective, this makes a lot of sense, but it's just going to be more time putting off that flute.
And there's our Trinex fight up on this side. Dave's going to be using that hammer to monk it off the skull of the first head. I got that switch, and carefully on the second one here. Switching the hammer again.
Well, there's an Ether Medallion hint here in Thieves Town.
Man, Daze taking down Trident's second form to get some item that we don't probably need at all. Just some bombs, yep.
Alright, and with that, dazedcloud gets his last crystal, and we'll be headed to Ganon's Tower. So we'd like to play a game here and guess where that big key will be and which of the 22 possible locations. We'll be going off of the order that dazedcloud opens chests or checks locations in the case of the torch. And get your guesses in chat now. So where do you think it will end up?
I'm gonna say 18. Probably. Let's put it in the back room there, make them go through and fight Armos Knights.
I'm going with 11. Halfway through.
Like some people are just like, it's been a trolley seat. There's one. Oh god. There's the last sword upgrade.
Well, that's about as good of a GT as dazedcloud could have had there.
Yep. I already know who won. I already know who guessed one first. Fryman, congratulations, buddy. Oh, actually, Killbros is the winner because they're the closest guest for my sub or supporter. But yeah, congratulations, Kale. You got yourself a place on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and get your hype in chat, guys. We do have a pedestal pool coming. Head hype.
We're getting everything. We're getting everything today, everybody. We were having this discussion in chat. I think we were talking about, is there a fourth sword upgrade in Ganon's Tower? Sure as heck is, guys. Sure as heck is. All right, let's see what's on the pedestal today. We know it's probably junk of some sort, but what kind of junk? What quality of junk? It's the big 300.
Nice. Looks like Jem's returning to his portal. I can only imagine he's planning to go over to Catfish. I guess, yeah, I can't think of anything else he has. He knows the purple chest is junk. He knows Graveyard Ledge is junk.
It was nice to see some beast rats and gauntlet there from Dazed.
Oh, looks like he's checking Lumberjack. He pieced out after getting the Ether Medallion, so one of the last checks he has here.
He's gonna check that and find it's nothing. Meanwhile, Dazed is gonna be working into the Lamb Wallace 2 fight.
Yeah, Dazed picking up those arrows there smartly because he was out. He needs at least 4 there for Ganon, so good call picking those up.
And Dazed through the most satisfying room in the game, part 1, very quickly and satisfyingly. And now into part 2. Kaboom.
Looks like Jem is deciding to do Pyramid before Catfish just to complete the hundo here. Why not? And I think Jem knows now with absolute certainty that Catfish has the flute. I don't think there's any other thing that could possibly happen. No fetch quest left. Jem knows. Or actually, never mind. Trinex could have the flute from his perspective. But we know that that's not the case. dazedcloud really making a quick work of that climb. Coming here up on Agate 2. And Jem is in go mode at the 131-15 mark.
Absolutely. Unfortunately for him, Daze is almost done with GT on Agate 2.
Yeah, Jem still has to go and do a go mode mire and return to Turtle Rock and do GT. So it's safe to say that Daze has a commanding lead at this point. And a really nice fight there from dazedcloud on Agate 2. Nice 3 cycle.
Absolutely. Of course, we never know. Could be a situation where Daze has like 30, 40 balls off Ganon. Just because it hasn't happened before doesn't mean it can't happen now.
Alright, time for the 4th phase.
Absolutely, very quick. Find arrows in Dark World. Yeah, we sure did. Hanging out in Super Bunny Cave today. No torch glitch today, but that won't really matter too much, I think. He does have to be careful, he's on 1 heart. So he's got to just watch these bats coming out. Ooh, nicely done. Getting that 4th hit, and dazedcloud should be good. Let's get those GGs in chat. And indeed, Daze is going to walk across the line here. And
finish with an official time of 134.27.
Absolutely. Take that game for leftovers, getting their first points on the board this season. So always good to get on the board.
Yeah, got the 3 points for his team for the win, evening up between both teams here in this round, week 1. And joining us now is our winner, dazedcloud. GG.
Yeah, GG.
How you feeling after that race?
Absolute. I'm still like buzzing. I'm like it was panic for I don't know how long. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy right now, actually.
Yeah. So, any guesses on where that seed turned around for you, or I guess where you got your advantage?
Well, I jumped in there at I jumped in after I got in, and I saw that Jem kind of ended up missing the flute there. I
Yeah.
imagine catfish. That's probably what did it.
Well, it was actually both catfish and ice rod, and I think it just stemmed from Jem's first trip to Village of Outcast. Didn't have the mitts, and you did, and everything seemed to fall into place from there. So that early Death Mountain play before the South Shore and Village of Outcast really is the major difference from what I see.
I was flipping a coin right about there. I was going, okay, so the seed gave me everything I need to go to to go to Swamp. So it's telling me go to Swamp, but at the same time, I can go do Death Mountain, and I'm going, oh god, which one should I do first? And I mean, Jem is an amazing racer, so it you know I never for a second felt like I was in the lead. I kept expecting to look down at one point and just be like, well, there it is.
Indeed, and I believe we have a just a forfeit here from Jem. Obviously this is a league race, so the result's been determined. So get your GGs in chat as well for Jem. Tough seed to kind of figure out sometimes, especially with some of those locations being out of the way, like the catfish flute.
Yeah, the other funny thing is both out of the way locations. Jem got a hint that Purple Chest was garbage. Jem also got a hint that Graveyard Ledge was garbage, which you probably would have routed that in with Catfish. So, yeah, the hints were really working against Jem, not letting him get back into it. It was an interesting seed, and you played really well. So GG.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm happy to get a couple of points on this. See what we do. See what we do next time. I've got like the nervous energy you get during a league match. It was like my first time playing rando again. It's like oh my god, my hands are sweaty. I'm like going
Is this your first like tournament / league / one-on-one restream match?
No, I've done. Yeah, it's like it was like the first one. It just took me back to that same feeling of oh my god, I'm doing the very first race ever again. But I've done at this point. This is like my 100th race. But
yeah, it's a lot of having that the league, the restream. It's definitely makes it can get the nerves up a little.
Well.
Well, any final thoughts?
No. I guess next week is open mode. I'll probably be sitting that one out and letting the other guys on my team take care of that one, and I'll come back for inverted. Really happy with the result. 130 is, that's a solid time for this group. So.
Absolutely, very solid time all around. And yeah, I guess anything else as far as anything else you wanted to shout out real quick here, Daze?
Hey Jeff, and GG Jem. That was it was fun, scary but fun.
All right. Well, thanks everybody out there for joining us for this league race this morning. We are on the last day, and I guess we have one spillover race, but the last day of the first week of the league. It's been really great so far. As Dave's mentioned, next week is open mode, so we'll see how those matchups go. I personally will be sitting open mode out as well. So for team 4K Fourth and Forehead, it will be Jem and Act the Boker going out there. So. Lots of great races coming up. We have 5 more weeks in the regular season. Just stay tuned for a lot of great races, and we'll see how the drama unfolds.
Absolutely, we're definitely going to have a lot of fun times. I too will be sitting out next week and all the weeks after it because I'm not on the team this season, but just doing commentary. But it's been enjoyable watching the races so far and getting to commentate this race today between these two very talented runners. As always, Bot is cooperating. Thank you, Bot. Be sure to follow Jem and Daze. Good runners. Definitely want to watch them, have a good time, learn a few things. You know, if you're new to the rando community, always good to watch some of the runners. And of course, we wanted to thank all the people who helped make this possible today, starting with our tracker, Cool Papa Bell. Thank you very much for helping out with that. And of course, Korek, thank you as always for commentating with me. I always appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Neon Tiger. Great time today.
Absolutely. So let me check here. We do have, just to give you guys a heads up, we do have one more race later tonight. I think it's at 8 o'clock. And it's on, it'll be back here on Speed Gaming. Oh, we're on 1, so it's on 2. Speed Gaming 2, it'll be Rush Nintendo Swag versus Blind's Bandoliers. As for what else is coming up right now, in about 15 minutes on Speed Gaming 4, there's an SM Prodigy tournament match that's going to be coming up for the Super Metroid Prodigy between Swap Space and Phoenix Down 23. And we've got there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up. There's a Gauntlet Marathon that's going to be on Speed Gaming 2 starting at noon to 7. Wind Waker Randomizer is going to be on Speed Gaming 4. So if you want to see Rando in a different game entirely, a different Zelda game entirely, at 3 p.m. on Speed Gaming 4 is going to be a Wind Waker Randomizer match between Chevy and Gymnast 86. There's just all kinds of great stuff going on today. So be sure to follow all of the Speed Gaming channels, 1 through 5, and of course come back here on Speed Gaming 2 later this evening for the last race of the week.
All right, and with that, I'm Korek.
I'm Neon Tiger. As always, good luck, good afternoon or good night. Good luck, good RNG. Remember, someone out there loves you, and we love you too. We'll see you around. Take care, guys.